Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Excuse the Miamians. Today, we are going to be doing our NFL Week 18 predictions and pick'ems, and I know what you're going to tell me. Man, there might be some random ones that I throw out there that I think are going to win or not, but I'm not a gambling expert or anything. I'm just coming out here and predicting, because I remember I was posting about on TikTok for quite some time, and then people would be like, man, your predictions for me betting suck. I'm like, what do you... Listen, you do whatever you want with your money. But the way that I'm doing it is just I'm picking who I think is going to win. So anyway, it is finally the last week of the NFL, and the season has actually flown by like fast. I didn't. This is the part where we start entering in this age of sports where it's just eventually basketball, hockey, and baseball, and then it just gets to that baseball only. And we're gonna have just like I think it's like three more weeks of football, including the playoffs, obviously. But it just sucks that it's ending so fast. I'm gonna miss it. You know, it's right here, man. It's so sad. Anyway, Saturday, January 6th. Also, there is no Thursday night football this week. And Thursday's tomorrow, which I gotta say, it's a little sus because every Thursday night football game has been pretty bad, I think, except for one. But the way that it's been going, man, they're just like, we cannot do Thursday night football here. We got to do some great matchups where people will actually watch. So I'm glad that they dropped the Thursday night football and they're going to do it for Saturday and Sunday. But anyway, Saturday, January 6th, the first game is at 4:30. It's the Steelers visiting the Ravens. Pittsburgh is favored by 4, and the over-under is 35.5. So the reasons why the Steelers are favored, and I'm not sure if you guys know, but Lamar Jackson is not playing. So because Lamar Jackson's not playing, I do wonder how many starters they are going to be sitting. But with the way it's looking, I mean, if they are going to sit down a majority of their players, I would pick the Steelers to win, obviously. It's one of those things that the Ravens, they can put their second string, but you know, the Steelers, they have a great defense. Their defense is going to be out there. Their defense is going to be playing. And if you're going to be going out there against a second or third unit, the Steelers are going to take that. Anyway, Steelers also need to win in order to make the playoffs. So there you go. 8:15, Texans are visiting the Colts. Both teams are actually 9-7. Houston is favored by 1. The over-under is 47.5. So one of the things that I really like about this matchup is the Texans do need to win. And the Colts, if they win, they're obviously going to make the playoffs. But the Texans, if they lose, they're out of the playoffs. And I believe that if the Colts lose, they're still in the playoffs. So major implications for both of these teams. They both want to win. The Texans are actually going to come out because they got to go out and they just got to dominate this team because, you know, with CJ Stroud, he's been doing great. 21 touchdowns on 5 interceptions. And he has actually, I think he missed the last 2 games because of a concussion that he suffered against the Jets. But I do think that the way the Texans have been playing, that they should be able to take on the Colts, right? The Colts are one of those teams that I'm not going to bash any NFL team when I'm saying this, but, you know, they're a middle of a pack team. And for the time being, I do think that even if the Texans are a middle of the pack team, they can do I mean, they could probably do an upset in the playoffs. I'm picking the Texans to win this one, and both teams on the road taking the W, so that's pretty wild. Sunday, 1 o'clock. We have the Browns visiting the Bengals. The Browns are 11-5. Bengals are 8-8. Cincinnati is favored by 7. The over-under is 37.5. Now, one of the things about the Browns, I think that they are actually stuck in 5th place no matter what they do. So that is the reason why they are going to rest most of their starters. They're going to be sitting down pretty much Joe Flacco, which he's surprisingly been going off. And then I'm just thinking the Bengals, they need to win, right, in order to make the playoffs too, I guess, because I still think they're in the hunt. But I would say that the Bengals are going to beat that. If the Browns are not even going to send out their number 1 defensive unit and they're going to be playing the Bengals should take care of business, right? They should go out there and win. I'm picking Bengals on that one. 1 o'clock, we got the Vikings 7-9 against the Lions 11-5. Detroit is favored by 3.5. The over-under is 45.5. So the thing about this game, the Vikings, because of their loss last week, they ended up not making the playoffs. So they're out. And they have nothing to, I mean, if they're going to win, I think every NFL team wants to win, obviously. But you don't want to tank. And they don't want to show that they're tanking. But if they win, it's going to hurt them for their draft. So I don't know. I think they should take the L here. Anyway, the Lions, they're a great team. They should have actually not lost to Dallas. The referees messed that game up. Right now, they could have been probably fighting for the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed for that matter. But I do think the Lions are, regardless of what's going to happen, they're going to take care of business. They should beat the Vikings. So that's my pick. 1 o'clock, Jaguars 9-7 are visiting the Titans 5-11. Jacksonville is favored by 5. The over/under is 39.5. So the Jaguars are one of those teams that they made it to the postseason last year, and just when you thought they were going to lose that round in the first round to the Chargers, they ended up just winning and just completely dominating that second half of the game. But they're a different team, I think, this year, right? They haven't really shown off. Obviously, they've had some injuries, but the Titans is one of those teams that they're 5-11. They're gonna get a high draft pick. I don't see them losing this game at all. I really don't. I don't see the Jaguars losing. My bad for saying any of that. I mean, just the Jaguars are great. The Titans are not. It hasn't been a great season for them. If the Jaguars do happen to win, it does end up doing another thing for Miami against the Bills, right? Because if Miami ends up beating the Bills and the Jaguars end up beating the Titans, then the Bills are out of the playoff picture, as long as also the Steelers win. So if the Steelers win, Jaguars win, and the Dolphins win, the Bills are out of the playoffs, which is wild. So this is why a lot of these games matter. But some of these teams that, they're not too good, like the Titans this season, I don't know what they're going to fight for. If they're going to go out there and try to win the game, I just don't see them beating the Jaguars here. Maybe the Jaguars end up back in the playoffs. Who knows? But anyway, I'm going to pick the Jaguars here. 1 o'clock, we got the Jets 6-10 versus the Patriots 4-12. New England is favored by 2. The over-under is 30.5. So if we're looking at, this is an AFC East matchup, but it's like the lower one, I guess you can say. The Jets right now are having a pretty bad season, but their defense, I guess they're still good, even though they just got demolished last week. But the Patriots, I don't want Bill Belichick to break, Shula's record. I don't know. I do think the Jets are going to... It's actually too tough. It's too tough because I know the Patriots defense is still legit, right? And they showed it to us, I guess, against the Bills. But the Jets too, both of them just have offensive problems. You know what? I'm going Jets on this one. I think the Jets are going to win that one. 1 o'clock, Falcons visiting the Saints. Falcons are 7-9. Saints are 8-8. New Orleans is favored by 3. The over/under is 42.5. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The Saints are gonna win. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. 1 o'clock, Buccaneers 8-8 versus the Panthers 2-14. Tampa Bay is favored by 4.5. The over/under is 37.5. So the thing about the Bucs, they've been one of those teams that have been looming around, and I believe they're number 1 in their conference, which is pretty wild. Being 8-8, there's always that one conference that has teams that they're usually 8-8 or 9-8, and they still win the division, like their division. So, not their conference, sorry, but it is pretty funny. And the Buccaneers are one of those teams. Now, do I think they're going to beat the Panthers? I think they will absolutely demolish the Panthers. The Panthers have not been playing the best football, obviously, and I don't think it's mostly anything about their quarterback, because I think that you have to give quarterbacks some time to get adjusted to the league. Some players do it faster than others, but in another instance, it took a while for him to get into, the shape of things, especially with Brian Flores. So I don't know. You gotta give the Panthers QB some time. But anyway, Bucks are gonna win that one. They're gonna go 9-8, and they're probably gonna make the playoffs, which is funny. 4:25, we got the Bears 7-9 visiting the Packers 8-8. Green Bay is favored by 3. The over/under is 44.5. So the Bears just, they just won last week. And can they stop the parade for the Packers to make the playoffs, right? The Packers, if they win, I believe they are in. So can they do an upset? Could the Bears do an upset? I think it would be something funny to watch, honestly. I've always liked the Packers. Whenever they had Aaron Rodgers back in the day, you watched them play. They were like, man, Aaron Rodgers is so good. And, Jordan Love has made some really good throws in the last couple weeks. But I don't know, man. Maybe the Bears spoil the parade. And I feel like it could really happen. It could. I'm going to go with the Bears here. And as long as Justin Fields is playing, and obviously he has more to prove, but if Justin Fields is playing and he actually upsets the Packers, it'll be something pretty funny. 4:25, we got the Broncos 8-8 visiting the Raiders 7-9. The Vegas Raiders are favored by 3. The over/under is 38.5. So the Broncos, they've been sitting down their quarterback, Russell Wilson. And I feel so bad because, he doesn't have to take that hit. It just sucks. But the Raiders, their defense has been playing great. So now since the Broncos are playing with their backup, I don't even think that there's a way for them to make the playoffs here. I'm gonna go with the Raiders winning this one, regardless, because they are playing with the backup. Broncos playing with the backup QB, and the Raiders, they've been playing pretty good ever since they got their brand new head coach. So I'm excited for the Raiders to win this one. 425, you got the Eagles 11-5 visiting the Giants 5-11. Philly is favored by 5. The over under is 41.5. So the crazy thing about the Eagles, I didn't think that the Eagles would have this bad of a season, right? They started off really good. I think they were like 10-1 or 9-1, and then all of a sudden they just dropped. I think it's 4 out of their last 5, which is insane, right? They used to have, I think it was like the top numbers on defense at the start of the season, and everything has come down. I think they're like 25, 26, and 25 again in just defensive ratings. They've dropped significantly, and Jalen Hurts has not had a great season if you're thinking about it. I mean, the brotherly shove, I mean, it works, but they've been doing really, really bad. Now, the thing about the Eagles, right? Whether you win or you lose, or you've been having a bad end to your season, you are one of those dominant teams that, I mean, you guys made it to the Super Bowl, and I think it was like a 20-game, stretch. You guys only lost 2 games. If the Eagles can somehow go to the playoffs and get a game, I can see them going back to the NFC Championship. So on this aspect, I got the Eagles beating the Giants, and at least Philly will get back on track. 425, Seahawks 8-8 visiting the Cardinals 4-12. Seattle is favored by 2.5. The over/under is 47.5. So the thing about the Cards, right? They just finished beating the Eagles, and it was one of those games where I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching. But the Seahawks, it's something about them that, Geno Smith, it's a beautiful story, right? He just continues to. He was with he was going around the league. They didn't really find a place yet. And then the Seahawks pick him up. They went to the playoffs last year. Do I think that the Seahawks can do it again? And I do think so. I do think that they'll go to into Arizona and they will win. And I know that you might be thinking that I've been going with every single favorited team. That's just the way I see it. It's not always the line that I think, but for what I think, I just think the Cardinals they're just on one of those losing seasons. Kyler Murray just got back. I think the Seahawks take care of business. 425, Chiefs are visiting the Chargers. Chiefs 10-6, Chargers 5-11. The Chargers are actually favored by 3.5. The over/under is 35.5. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes or anybody here on the Chiefs is going to be playing, but I'm still going to go with the Chiefs, right? I think that they are right now in third. And if they win or they lose, they're staying the same, I believe. So whatever the case may be, I do think that the Chiefs are still going to win. I know the Chargers have shown some fight at the end, especially with their backup QB, but I still think the Chiefs are going to win. Chiefs are going to take that one. 425, we got the Rams 9-7, visiting the 49ers 12-4. San Francisco's favored by 4. The over/under is 41.5. So the thing about the 49ers, they've already clinched. I don't think that there's anything that they need to play for. Actually, I'm not sure if the Cowboys are 11-5. Nah, you know what? Regardless of that, I think 49ers still get first place. Yeah, they do clinch. So 49ers are going to probably sit down their starters. In this case, I'm going to be going with the Rams, right? Rams are still, I believe they're in their wild card. And if they win, they go 10-7. Maybe some stuff happens. I'm going with LA just because I think the 49ers are going to sit down their players. 425, we got the Cowboys 11-5 visiting the Commanders 4-12. Dallas is favored by 13. Jesus. Over/under is 45.5. I think this is an easy one. The Commanders have not had a great season at all, but the Cowboys, wow, they're actually playing away. That might be a problem, but maybe Dak Prescott might actually, I don't think they're going to lose to the Commanders at all. You know what? Cowboys are going to win that easily. And the last but not least, the game of the week, the Dolphins for a third straight week. I mean, it's crazy. Bills 10-6 visiting the Dolphins 11-5. Buffalo is favored by 3. The over/under is 49.5. Now, if you guys want to listen to me talk about that, I will be doing my separate podcast for that, just because obviously I do love the Miami Dolphins. I just love my Miami teams. So I got to obviously do my own little insight for that. But it is going to be one of those tough matchups, I believe, for Miami, right? They've already suffered a bunch of injuries, and a lot of these injuries, they suck, right? They suck. You don't even know if Jalen Waddle's going to play. Bradley Chubb's not playing, obviously, because he just tore his ACL. Hopefully he's fine. Tyreek Hill, His house was actually burning down today, which is pretty wild. I'm glad that everybody in his family's fine. But when he showed up, he was in a walking boot. So you don't know if he's going to be playing. You have nobody. Maybe Xavier Howard might not even be playing. So you're just wondering, is Miami really going to try to compete with the Bills? Well, obviously they do want the AFC East, but you wonder who they're going to use, what they're going to use to stop Josh Allen and company. But with that being said, our episode is finally over, and I hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you guys did, please give a thumbs up on YouTube, and if you guys can, please go on Spotify, give the podcast some love, follow it. And if you guys do want to follow my Twitter, it's at Love Miami Sports. You'll see that the name is Excuse the Miamians. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.